Well, hello, good evening, and welcome to our 20th Sunday night live broadcast. And we have got a show for you tonight that you will absolutely adore. Dave and I are thrilled tonight to have a special guest, and we've got a bit of an international audience. We've got people obviously here watching in the United Kingdom where it's 7 o'clock at night. We've got people in San Francisco watching where it's 12 noon, people in Minneapolis where it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon, people in Oslo and Berlin where it's 8 o'clock at night, and we have one person at least in Hong Kong where it's
3 a.m.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning, okay? And that's our guest, Lisa Grossmann, who is a phenomenal person. Diane and I first met Lisa in Cabo San Lucas in Mexico. And you know how sometimes people just instantly click? Well, we clicked. And we spent a lot of time with Lisa and our business partner, Curtis Broom, and they've been phenomenal mentors to us. So without further ado, please welcome massively to our broadcast tonight, Lisa Grossmann. Hello, Lisa.
Hi, Clive, David, Diana in the background somewhere. It's wonderful to be here. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. Now, we'd like to get straight down to this because time's short. Not many people here, Lisa, in the UK know you very well. And so if you could just give us a highlight. I know you've got a pretty long story, and it's a fascinating story. But if you just give us some highlights, some flavor of what's happened to you and how you come to be where you are today.
I'm not sure that where I am today is good or bad, but it certainly has been an adventure. I got introduced to the wonderful, wacky, incredible world of network marketing when I was about, 26 years old, so more than half my life ago. And if you know, people tell you the stories that they saw network marketing and they instantly knew it was for them and they got so excited and it just clicked for them. Yeah, I wasn't one of those. I got a phone call from my aunt one day who told me that she had found her fortune. She was going to make $1 million and she wanted to come over and tell me about it and get my help. I said, sure. And she showed up at my house and proceeded to take apart my sink and started hooking up some contraption to it. And all I could think was, oh my God, she's going to be a plumber? What are you doing? And she said, oh, this is the most incredible water filter, and it's going to, it's going to make everything you taste, everything's going to taste better. And you just have to use it for a week and it's going to change your life. Promise me. Concentrated orange juice, you're going to do this. And the water you give your pets, you're going to use this. And I said, well, I promise. And she went away for a week and we made the orange juice, fed the pets, and drank the water, and it was good. She came back, and true enough, the pets liked it better than the tap water, and everything tasted better. And I still wasn't really clear as to what she was doing with all of this, but I asked her. I said, so, I'd be more than happy to buy one of these. It's really a good product. How much does it sell for? She said $179. And I'm like, okay. So how much do you make? She said $59. But when I move up in the scheme, it can make as much as 120. Well, I'm looking at $1 million she says she's going to make, and this thing attached to my sink, and doing the math, going, I don't get it. And I said, this is how you're going to get rich. She goes, oh, you need to watch a video. Okay. She pops in a video, and it's all about water. And it's talking about the bottled water industry, and it's saying things like, well, when you go to the grocery store, just this little shelf is made up of bottled water today. But someday, one day, it's going to take up whole aisles in the grocery store. And we all knew that was never going to happen, but, look around today. And this is just pennies on the dollar versus what that's going to cost. And I'm like, okay. And I still wasn't getting it. She put me on a three-way call. And I was talking to the guy on the three-way call, telling me he lost his fortune in real estate. Now he was doing this, and he was making like $30,000, $40,000 a month. And I'm like, wait, because the math still wasn't working for me. He says, you need to go to the meeting. So off I go to this meeting. Could not get my husband to go with me. It was everything you'd expect and more. I wanted to put a paper bag over my head lest anybody should see me. And I sat in the back of this very large room with body language like this, Clive. I mean, All I wanted was for it to be over, and it went on and on and on, and circles everywhere, and I was on and on, and finally, mercifully, people started standing up. So I'm like, over. And then she says, no, sit down. You're going to miss the best part. I'm like, there's more? How exciting. And all these people went up to the front of the room, and they started telling their stories. And I thought it was pretty hokey and pretty goofy, but eventually I started listening to the stories. And I noticed that people were talking about the kind of freedom they were getting, the fun they were having, the traveling. It wasn't so much the money. I was making money, but as I often tell people, even when you win the rat race, you're still a rat. And I was in a family business I didn't love. By the time it was over, I was somewhat fascinated. So it's over. I go to the lobby. I call my husband on the payphone. I'm dating myself. This was pre-cell phone, folks. And I called him up, and he said, so how bad was it? And I said, oh, my gosh, it was so much worse than you could imagine, except for one thing. And Steve said, what? And I said, Steve, these people are dumber than us, they're uglier than us, and they're making more money than we are, and they're having more fun. And he said, you know, do you don't want to do this, do you? And I'm like, well, I think I might want to try it. And his answer was, which doesn't serve you really great in network marketing, that's fine, just don't talk to anybody we know. So I jumped in with a passion that quickly turned into an intense hatred. I hated everything about it. I didn't get it. It was a paradigm shift. It was making me crazy. But I don't like to be beaten by things, and I don't like to fail. So I had an intensely major plan. I was going to get to the top of this pyramid thing, the top of this structure, and then I was going to quit. Because you see, if you quit at the top, nobody can say that you couldn't do it. You can say, no, I did it, I got to the top, and it wasn't for me. And I set about that with a vengeance, doing everything wrong, making myself the issue, chasing that pin like a brownie wanting patches for her best. But along the way, I fell madly in love. I began to understand what network marketing really was, and I got it. And I learned. And thus began the love affair of my life. And that was what I call phase one of network marketing. I learned a lot. I had a lot of fun. And on and off for the next 10 years, I was involved and I did well. But I was still involved in that family business, which took me away from it from time to time. And ultimately, you know, you guys are working together in this business and family, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
My family business experience was not wonderful. It was horrific, to be quite honest. But, you know, you never can find the door when it's your family. And that eventually, the business got into a whole lot of trouble. And thought I was out of it. You know, sold it, and life was going merrily along. And actually got into a lot of problems. It was my mother's business, and I was involved in it. And about somewhere along the line, I guess 1995, 96 or something, that business was investigated by the federal government, along with a lot of other people that were in that business. We were in medical clinics that specialized in weight loss. And one day, the government pretty much knocked on my door and said something along the lines of, we don't want you, we want your mother. So you'll testify against her and everything will be fine. Nice Jewish girl from a big tribe, and those words, I might as well have moved to the moon and changed my name. You don't testify against your mother. So I said, I don't think so. And one thing led to another, and it's a rather long story I'm going to go into briefly here. People can hear it elsewhere. It's all over line, or we'll do another video someday and talk about it. But suffice to say that they eventually indicted me. They indicted her. They indicted me. Okay, they indicted my husband. He was really pretty guilty of falling in love with the wrong girl. So at that point, it became about acceptable losses, and I did a deal with the a year in a federal prison camp. And before everybody feels too sorry for me, let me tell you three things. One, it had nothing to do with network marketing. It's important that you know that. Two, in the United States, they talk about club feds, where why are we spending our tax dollars to send all these white collar people to these like country club type things, which is pretty much what it was. It's much more about mentally what it does to you than being in some behind bar place where I wasn't. And three, it wasn't an awful experience. It was the year and a half leading up to it and all the things I did to myself mentally, anticipating what it was going to be like and letting my mind go crazy, that was quite terrible. So I ended up spending a year in that situation. A lot happened there, and I learned a lot about myself and other things, and had no idea what I was going to do when I got home. I went through every emotion you can imagine in that situation. And when it was all over, and I had befriended and been befriended by an army chaplain there who gave me some very good advice, because I went to her rather hysterical when my mind got the better of me at one point after some do-gooders came to town to help me get my mind right. My mind could never have been so wrong. And she basically gave me some very good advice, which was to get my head on straight and go home and pretty much have faith in my senior partner, and every day to go back to something I knew, to get up, shower up, show up, shine up, and have faith and go to work. And I didn't know what to do, so I went back to network marketing, because it would have been a hobby that I learned in the first place, but now I didn't know what else to do. And I have a knack for business, so I didn't know that I was going to go build groups, but I thought I wasn't ready to do that. But I knew a lot of people that I'd met over the years, and I called and started consulting a little bit. And people were very forgiving. I learned a lot about life in that circumstance, and it really all applies back to what we do here. And what I learned is that if you are willing to be honest about where you're at and you ask for help, you'll always get it. And I did that. I called people and said, this is where I've been, this is what's going on in my life, but I think I can help your business, I can fix your comp plan, I can train your people, I can do this, I can do that, whatever it was. And people stepped up to help. And one day, I'd like to say the right company came along and the lightning bolt went on, but really a company that I was working on, nobody else really wanted to go out and talk about it. It was kind of new, and I thought, well, I can do that. And I did, and it was amazing. Over the next 12 months, life took off. I was with the right group of people, fabulous people, made $1 million in 12 months, and all of a sudden, after 10 and a half years, I was an overnight success in network marketing.
Wow. So right timing, right place. Right person.
Right timing, right place, maybe right outlook. I think that you can always be in the right time in the right place, but you don't realize that you are because of the way you look at things.
Yeah, I get that. So let me tell you where we are, and thank you so much for sharing your story, which is, I mean, I've heard the full-length version, and for our audience watching tonight, if you just go on YouTube and look up Lisa Grossmann, you will find Lisa's story in depth, and it is quite awesome.
I'll always refer to it. I just didn't want to use it this whole time because I know we've got exciting things to talk about and things that are coming up in the UK that people need to know about.
Well, you see, I know that when we were talking in Cabo, and more recently in November, we were talking about events, and we have a national conference coming up next weekend, so over 2 days. And we've got a few seats left on the Sunday, I think. Is that right? Yes. Yeah. So it's not a huge number, but they are available. So that's one event that I really want people to get serious about. The other is that you can't get tickets for it yet, but we're doing another event, a Massive Action Day, which will be in September. Heads up for that one. But the one that I really wanted to share with you, Lisa, and for you to contribute to, because you know more about this event than I do, and that's Eric Worre's GoPro event, which is happening here for the first time in the United Kingdom in November. Now, I know that you've we all know Eric. You've known Eric longer than I have. I'd just like you to share with people that are watching this what you get out of the event, why it's so important to attend, that sort of thing.
Well, let's talk about events in general first, and then we'll talk about the specific ones you got coming up. Eric does such a fine job, and I'm sure you've read his book. If you're watching, if you haven't read his book, you need to read his book because it breaks it down simply, and that's the science and the how-tos. And everything can be broken down into how to do something pretty simply. Nobody does it better than Eric. But I think the question always is, why don't people do it once they have the recipe? And network marketing is a list of fundamentals that you master. But by far, the one, if you could only learn how to do one thing well, the thing that will explode your business the most effectively, where you have to do the least amount of work yourself, is events. Events are designed to build your business for you. If I could only get good at one thing, it would be promoting for events, because they do so much to build your business. But let me tell you the main thing I think that they do for you and your team. Network marketing is really, think of it as a road of enlightenment. People see it and they imagine something like the Avon lady, and then they get into it a little bit and they go to the local meeting and they see that. And every time you get them into a bigger event or around more people, they get a bigger picture of what it really is. A light bulb goes on. And national events within a company and days that are specifically geared toward skill development are days that people begin to understand that it's a business. They begin to learn that it's not about you, that you are a support mechanism for them, that you perhaps are you're certainly how they found it, but their success is not dependent upon you, and also that they can surpass you. And people really start to believe in network marketing when they realize that they can go further than the person that brought them in, that there really is no limit. And the bigger the event they go to, the more stories they hear. The bigger the event they go to, the bigger their picture becomes about the community that they've joined, about the shared vision of changing the world, and how all of these people together are changing the world together. And I think that there's nothing more compelling than getting people together in that way, for keeping them in the business. As a matter of fact, what I learned from my dear friend Eric Morey is the best way to build your business is using a calendar. And if you can just build from event to event to event and fill in the blanks between, then all you really have to do is learn how to say the least amount that you have to say to get people in front of anything that isn't you.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? Because Dave and I were just discussing before, and I know you've got something.
Yeah, I've got a question for you, Lisa. I find with a lot of the team members that I work with, many of them struggle to articulate to their team members why they need to attend events. Many of them won't actually say anything or promote an event through fear of pushing a distributor out of the business or overloading them, and then you'll get some who just mention it. And we both know that simply mentioning an event to somebody isn't enough to get them in the room. So my question to you is, how would you train a distributor on what it is they need to say to their team members to get them to the event?
Well, I believe that everything is a series of asking questions. You know, and I always like to ask people questions, because one of the things that I think is very hard, I don't want to tell anybody what to do, especially not, I don't like to be told what to do, but I think that everybody wants to understand. I think that anybody, once they understand, you know, gets it. It's hard to not know what you know. I mean, it's hard to unlearn what you know. And I would just ask people, do you want your business to be effective? You know, my favorite question in network marketing is this. Today is, what is it here? Stupendous, it's Super Sunday, guys. Everybody's watching, it's Super Sunday. Grab a pen, because if I made it, it's your day. On this mythical, fabulous, wonderful day, let me tell you what I'm going to do for you. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put 100 distributors in your business today. 100 right now that weren't there before. Here's the key. They work the business exactly the way that you do. Exactly. They make as many phone calls as you do. They have the same attitude that you do. They talk to people the way that you do. They attend events the way that you do. Their consistency matches your level of consistency. They show up the way that you show up. Everything exactly the way you do it is the way they do it. Now, what does your business look like? You know, we're always talking about duplication, and people always say my business isn't duplicating. Guess what? You're always getting duplication. The question is just the way it is. The good stuff it duplicates kind of analogy like at 80%. You know, the copy of a copy of a copy that's never quite as good. The stuff that you wish people wouldn't do, that indirectly over time really affects their business in a negative fashion, this duplicates beautifully, 120% digital format. We don't know why, it just does. Therefore, you can bet this. With these people that I give you that today are doing the business just like you, if we project that out a month, your very best qualities, they're duplicating a little bit, but all the things that you wish you did better, or all the little mistakes that you think don't matter but compounded over time, you look back and wish you'd done it a little bit differently, multiply that by 100, because you got 100 people doing that now, to the power of 5, because that's what you're going to be looking at. So when you are just mentioning, events are the lifeblood of your business, because any business that is people dependent can never get any bigger than the guy. And if you want a business that you want to thrive and grow, you have to present for people the biggest picture that they can get at all times. You have to take yourself out of the picture and be the least amount of the issue at all times. You have to make people responsible for their own business so they understand that you are there to help and support, but if you get hit by a bus, it doesn't matter, because their income comes from below. That's who pays you, folks, the people that are in your downline. That's who you work for. And plugging people into the company and into the upline events and teaching them to do the same is the only way that you will ever have a passive business and a residual income, because it makes it not dependent on you nor limited by your own limitations.
Yeah, I know, because one of the things that when we were at GoPro Recruiting Mastering in Vegas in November, Eric actually said to the audience, and I don't even remember or not, but he actually said that Diana Ross, my Diana Ross, was the best promoter in the world that he's ever come across, which was quite good, because I think I'm the second best. Now, one of the things that I'd just like to do before we just get on to our next question with you is I'd like to call to the audience that's watching here tonight to start firing up their questions in the chat window, please, and we'll take a few of those before we finish off. So if you start thinking about those, and Dave, you know, we were talking about hot list, warm list, that sort of thing, and I know you want to talk to Lisa about that.
Yeah, Lisa, as part of my personal development, I try to watch 15 to 20 minutes every day of a YouTube video of either Eric, yourself, Jim, Brian, you know, all the network marketing legends, and I stumbled upon an interview that you did a few days ago. I was watching it a few days ago, and you handled it absolutely brilliantly. You'd obviously been caught off guard backstage at one of the events. A group of network marketers from different organizations had asked you to articulate the differences between how you approach your hot list and how you approach your warm list. And that is something I would be very keen for you to obviously talk to our network about, because I think that is massively important when we're talking about getting a new distributor off the ground.
Okay, no problem. Now for me, that's always how I've built my business. I've always taught, you know, we always talk about like warm market, which I think is very confusing. I think everybody would agree they know what cold market is. This would be people, strangers that we, you know, there are no strangers, but these are the people we haven't met yet. And people think of warm market and they think about family and friends. And you know, you meet people and they say, oh, I don't want to call my family and friends to be in my business. And actually that's, I think, a good instinct for the most part, present company excluded, because they're confused. You see, hot market is your close friends, family, the people that love you so much, they probably trust your business skills not at all. These are the people that know you how they know you. They knew you from when you were like 16 and a screw up. And it doesn't matter that you're an attorney arguing in front of the Supreme Court today. You're still that 16-year-old who, you know, stole hubcaps, and you'll always be. These are the people that if you got stuck on the road at 3 o'clock in the morning, though, you could call them and they would come pick you up because you had the flat, all the while home telling you how stupid you were to be out at 3 o'clock in the morning and get the flat tire. So we all know who this list is, right? These are the people that are there to support you. Think of it as if you were starting a business outside of network marketing and you're going for funding. There's angel investment, then there's capital raise, but what's the first phase? Friends and family. Friends and family are there to help support your business. So to me, the hot market is where you start with your product. Network marketing is not about going out and competing with department stores or competing with salespeople. It's about a lot of people doing little. It's about if everybody could go out and get 10 or 15 customers over time. Well, who is your most forgiving market? Mom and dad and sister Sue and your best friend. And these are people that I believe you just call and you ask them for their help. You're representing something you believe in. You wouldn't be in the business otherwise. And you're asking them to help you out and make the change, use the product, change their service, have faith in you to help you support your business. Hey mom, hey dad, hey Fred, hey David, hey Clive, this is Lisa, your niece, your friend, your whatever. I've gotten started a new business. I'm not asking you to join it, but I'm going to ask you to support my business and help me out. I'm not asking you to be my customer forever. I'm asking you to switch your service, be my customer, and if it doesn't work for you, if you don't find that it's a great experience, I'll be okay if you leave. But if it does do everything I say it's going to do, you want to support my business, right? Well, of course. That's your best and most forgiving market. Now, if people do that with their hot market right away, then the warm market becomes easy to deal with. Because what everybody's afraid of is they don't believe they have a story when they get started. Network marketing, break it down. We ask questions, we tell stories, we listen, and we build for events. That's the whole business. And what you want a new person to have is a great story. And if they start with their hot market and don't call them up insane, oh my God, I'm going to get rich. Oh my God, you got to do it with me. Oh my God, but just ask them, I've started something, please help me. Then by the time I get to my warm market and I say, David, I've started a new business. Are you happy? Are you happy? Do you have a plan? Would you like to see one? And he starts asking, well, what's happened for you? I'm like, David, I've been in this a week, but I can tell you that I already have 15 customers, and beyond that, I don't really know what I'm doing. But if you'll listen to Clive, if you'll come with me to this meeting, if you'll go to this event, if you'll go to this website, you can get all the information, and I'll point you and guide you to the people you need to get your questions answered. Because it's not about what I know. I just know what's happened to me so far. It's that I have hooked up with a team of experts that I believe are going to help me change my life. And you've got to meet them, and you've got to see what's available here. Because not knowing anything, I already have 15 customers. That's the key. So hot market is your family and friends that support you and develop the story so that you can go out and talk to your warm market with confidence because you have one. A story now.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Exactly what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
I have a question about that though, because there's going to be a time. Our business is a service-based business where there's no product, it's services. It's telecommunications, internet service provision, mobile telephony, and energy, gas and electricity.
Service, customers.
Yeah. So customers are great, and we all need customers. And I totally agree with you that the whole thing is about a lot of people doing a little bit rather than a few people doing a lot, because that's tough. My question for you is: there's going to come a time when you've got people within your hot list, okay, who you really want to approach about the business.
Oh, I got it. Yeah. You see, I didn't mean that they should never be in your business. I want to be clear. Family, close family is hard for people in their first 30 days, I think. That's when because they haven't accomplished anything. Once, my pitch is always this. Hi, Uncle Clive, this is Lisa. I'm just asking for your help right now. In 30 days, if you want, I'll show you the business. You always go back and talk to them once you have your story. I believe the methodology is this. Hot market to help you, support you, develop your story, and not make fun of you because you didn't approach them too soon. Warm market with your story, and then go back to your hot market triumphantly. See, I'm not a screw-up. I actually have something going on here. Now you know the product's good. You've been using that. I'm actually still in the business after 3 months, which is what your hot market wants to see. Half the time they don't listen to you because they don't believe you're still going to be doing it in 90 days. I'm still here. You're using the product, and I've actually had some success where you look at the business with me now. Because now they're approaching them with a level of confidence and a position of strength. Because confidence is not usually something one gets. from their with, they help you with their warm market. And when you go back to them with confidence in a story, they can't tell you you're a screw up anymore, and they can't tell you it doesn't work. You see, the cool thing about this system is once a person has success and you give them something they can easily do in the beginning, three things happen. One, you can't tell them it can't be done. They did it. Also, they can do it again because they did it. And three, they can teach somebody else how to do it. And when you arm somebody with those three things, very little can stop them if they can be consistent and stay on track. And the way to do that, of course, is to show up at all the events, because they keep people going from event to event to event and teach your people to do the same thing.
That's terrific. And brilliant.
Brilliant.
Super stuff, that. I've got a question here.
I have a very, very, very quick one, Lisa. If I'm helping a distributor who hasn't had the best start in the business, they might be in a different leg, and I'm helping a distributor who, for whatever reason, has already burnt out their hot list. They've been to their hot list. They've all said no.
They're screwed up.
They're screwed up.
Yeah.
What would be the best strategy for helping that new distributor go back to those people with maybe a different set of language?
Well, first of all, I don't think that you've ever screwed up your hot list. This is your friends and your family. And by the way, this is all about, take the spotlight off yourself, folks. Network marketing is really not about you as much as you'd like to think it is. It's about the person you're talking to, because you've already made it. I hope that you made it. Now, if you're looking for other people to confirm your decision, that could be a challenge. But assuming you've made your decision, you're going out to find out where they're at. We're getting a lot of background.
We are getting a lot of background.
You're going out to find out where they're at. And unless their circumstances have greatly changed, you haven't burned up anybody. You know, if I talk to my Uncle Clive and he said no, 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 because he thinks I'm a screw up, but I go back 60 days later, unless he's won the lottery, if I did my job, because your job is not to go out and do all this talking. That's what people don't understand. It's not about there's a place for presentation. It's a stage, and it's when you're actually talking about the business. But presentation always follows conversation. And conversations with people are not supposed to be about you. They're supposed to be about them. You're supposed to, if you're interested in them, they'll think you're the most interesting person in the whole world. So now you have a relationship. So you can always go back to somebody you have a relationship with, because timing and circumstances change.
So what you're saying, Lisa, and it's music to my ears, you can't actually burn out your hot list.
I don't think you can burn out anybody if you have a relationship. So let me be clear.
Yeah.
I've built every business I built for 25 years under three theories. Be interested, not interesting. So I'm always interested in what's going on with Clive. So I know everything about him. I know everything about you, because it's a conversation about you. If you're not interested in what I have today, that's okay. You know, if you think I'm a screw up, that's okay. Because over time, if I'm still in the business, then my story is going to get better and things are going to change. I'm going to come back to you with new information. If you don't win the lottery or change jobs or find something that greatly changes your circumstances since the last time we spoke, then chances are you're still in the same place. Sooner or later, timing is going to change. I go into this theory. Let's assume that every person you ever talk to, hot, cold, whatever, every person you ever encounter in life is going to somehow positively impact your business, and you don't know how. Maybe they'll be your customer. Maybe they'll join it. Maybe they'll introduce you to 5 other people that will join it, but not them because they're too busy. But they will have a positive impact on your business. The 7th time the subject comes up. But in order for it to come up the 7th time, you have to have a relationship, and you have to be pleasant enough that they still want to talk to you 7 times later. So how would that change the way that you deal with the people that you're dealing with if you stop making it an event and a process, and understand that it's not about where you're at or if you screwed up, it's about where they're at and if they're happy. Because if you hit them on the day where they've had enough, it doesn't matter what happened in the past. It matters that right now they've had enough and you've got the solution. So the key, as Eric would say, is when they hit high noon, be around, and be around as somebody that they think well of. Cool. And people don't think badly of you just because they didn't join you in a business.
Okay. We'll move to questions. That was brilliant, Lisa. Thank you.
What you've actually done, Lisa, I've had some questions pop up from the audience here. but you've actually answered them. So I've got a question from me to you, and everybody else can listen in. And I've seen you on stage, I've seen you talk to groups informally, and you are a master. You're often referred to in the industry as the mentor's mentor. But I'm not aware of you writing a book or recording anything. You got anything in the pipeline?
Secret, isn't it?
Actually, I haven't written a book, and there's really a reason for that, and I'll tell you. I am working on something just to get information out there, and here's the reason. I think that, I don't want to say what's been said, I think when it comes to the skills that Eric is a master, I don't think anybody's ever done it better, and I don't know that anybody's going to. So you don't want to say something when there's something you can point somebody to that's already doing it. But I do think that I'm working on some stuff to teach people a little bit about how to change their perspective and look at things differently. I think that that's the key. I think people just need to ask questions. You know, so I am thinking about that. But I do want to be, I love it. I love to contribute, and I love to help wherever I can go. So we are talking about a couple of things, you know, but on the other hand, we're on the other side of looking at all these different things. But let's put it this way. Come November, where we're all going to be in Manchester, and by the way, we haven't gotten around to it because this has gone so fast, but if you're watching this and you are not, first of all, go to your national conference. They have very few tickets left, and they need to be sold out, but you need to go to your national conference. That's a given. You can't say you're in a business and not go to the national conference. There's no way to tell that story. I'm doing this seriously, but I didn't go to my national conference. If you don't want to go to something, don't go to the little event that's in the town nobody ever heard of, because nobody will ever hear of it to know you weren't there. But you can't say you didn't go to the national conference. And if you're going to go, you might as well take some people with you, because you'll be sorry that you didn't have them there anyway. So first, you know, call all your people, go get your ticket, get some people to go with you, get that done. And now that that's out of the way, they've got another event coming up, some Super Saturday thing. You have to be there. These are all givens. I'm not going to spend a lot of time telling you to go to your company events, because success without company events is like trying to, you know, fly without an airplane, and so far we don't know how to do that. But coming to November, the GoPro event, you must go. You must be at this event, because Eric is magic, and he's bringing friends. And I happen to think, I'm pretty sure I'm one of those friends that's coming, and I want to meet you.
Awesome.
And my partner's coming, and he wants to meet you all. But Eric has a way of making seemingly complex very basic and understandable. And once you understand it and you get it, life becomes so much easier. And once it becomes systematic and you understand that you've got a plan and a strategy to follow, you can spend the rest of the time just getting better at those skills through repetition. And you're going to get to meet great people and hear their stories. And network marketing is, the bigger your repertoire of stories, the more stories you can share with other people, the more you can help people relate themselves to what's going on and paint themselves into the picture. The more that they can see it, the better they're going to do. And the more that you get out and meet people and see people that are doing it around the world, the better you can see. So these are all must-do events. You have to.
Cool. Now, one of the people that's popped up with a question is a fan of yours. In fact, she's had a photograph taken with you in Vegas. Her name's Wendy Lawson. It's also Wendy's birthday today. So
Happy
birthday, Wendy.
Happy birthday, Wendy.
Her question's kind of been covered, but she's got a bit of a twist on it. Is how do you advise... hang on, I just pressed the wrong button here. Here we go. How do you advise... I lost it. Here we go. How do you advise new team members to take the focus away from themselves, the need, to other people in the early stages before posture?
You mean take it away from themselves to
Yeah.
push their support, or to give the team on their support team? I'm not sure I get the question.
The audio broke up then. I didn't quite get that.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
What I think she's trying to say is, How you've got a brand new person, and we've already talked about it. New people tend to think it's all about me, 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 me. It's how we get into their minds that it's not about me, 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 me. It's about asking the questions, building the relationship.
Okay. 25 years, I've built my business essentially the same way. 4 questions. Are you and it starts out with being interested in other people, not being interesting, and it's the questions are as follows. Are you happy? And you don't call people up and say, hello, are you happy? But in the course of the conversation, it always comes up. When I say, are you happy, you're not asking me, are you happy? Are you simply do the ice cream in the day? It's, are you happy? Are you satisfied? Are you content with your life where your life is at? And notice I didn't say, are you making enough money? Because a lot of people make enough money, but they're not happy. They're so busy sacrificing for the life that they don't have time to have the life they're sacrificing for. And eventually, most people are going to tell you they're not satisfied and they're not happy. You know, quite frankly, if you find a person that's that happy, please leave them alone. Make them your customer, but happy people are so rare. Let's not upset them. Take a picture. Say, I met one of 2 happy people today. But when they tell you they're not happy, the next question you ask is, great, do you have a plan to change that? Now, you're not asking people if they have a plan because you want to see if they have a plan. If they had a plan, they could work on a plan. They wouldn't be talking to you about anything. You want them to connect that they're not happy and satisfied, and they have no plan. You know what? I'm really not satisfied in life. I don't have a plan to change that. Because the next question I ask them is, would you like to see one? And it's not about you, because then your job is to stand in front of your incredible support team. You know, when you're brand new, there's something that you have that the company doesn't, that your upline team doesn't. You can't explain the products in the company. Right. The feedback's coming from you on a laptop. Next time you use your
No, we've got no feedback at this end.
Oh, that's just me. Never mind. Okay, good. So, you know, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But anyway, okay, yes. You only have one thing the company doesn't have. You don't know it. You can't explain the products or the company, and you're brand new, and you shouldn't try. You're going to learn that over time by being exposed to it, by going to events, and doing everything you can to learn and listen. What you have is a group of people that trust you enough to look at something. That's all you got. And you've got a team of experts that you've aligned with that are there to support and grow your business. And that's what makes you unique. And that's what you want to get people in front of. So when you say, would you like to see one, you tell them, here's the next important line. It's probably not for you, although I'm sure you're going to love the product. But if you see what I see, if you meet these people and you see what I see, I think together we can do something special. And if you don't, that's okay. Because you'll be out looking for a plan. And you deserve one. You deserve a plan to be happy. You deserve to be happy. You're too special not to be. And why do we tell people it's probably not for you? Because guess what? The products for everybody in the business probably isn't for them. Just like most of us don't go to medical school, but we all go to doctors. Most of us don't own restaurants, but we all eat in them. But you don't know if you don't look. And our objective is not to get people in. Nobody wants to be gotten. Our objective is to get people to look at what their options are, to recognize that if they are not happy with where they are at, they have options. They don't have to stay there. And if you can get everybody to look with an open mind, the right people will join you. And those that don't right away will remember that you put them first, and eventually when you go back to them, they will remember that while everybody else was trying to get them, you put them first, and eventually they will be one of those people that in some form or fashion positively impacts your business somewhere along the line about the 7th time. You just don't know how yet.
That's brilliant, Lisa. Thank you so much for that. Well, guys, we've run over time. What a surprise! Again,
I can talk a lot. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, no, that's cool. It's been absolutely a stupendous broadcast. I think there's so much information. Guys, this has been recorded already. It's going to be up on YouTube very, very soon, so you'll be able to watch it. Just before we all say goodbye, I just want to tell you a little bit about our next live broadcast, which is in 4 weeks' time. We have a phenomenal gentleman talking. an absolute hero of mine, and has been for many years, is a chap called Richard Bliss Brooke.
Oh, you love Richard.
Yeah. So, Lisa, you know Richard.
Richard, Jim Colbert, and I were the three guests at Eric's very first GoPro.
Wow. Well, Jim Faubert is actually the man indirectly responsible for me joining this industry, and he'll be doing a live broadcast a little later in the year, as I know your business partner, Curtis Broom, will as well. But in 4 weeks' time, it's
Richard is awesome, folks. You want to show up for that. He's amazing. I've learned a lot from that man, and he's funny, too.
He is, yes. Mr. Super LMLM man.
5th to the 8th of November.
And so we'll look forward to seeing you soon, Lisa. Well, certainly in November in Manchester, the 5th to the 8th of November.
Tickets are
And you can go, guys, if you haven't done it already, go to the GoPro website and you can order your tickets there. It's best if you get a few of you together, and so you can order a few.
We are looking forward to November, but we better see you sooner.
I say again?
Yeah, I hope so.
We'll definitely see you.
Oh, we'll see you soon, I'm sure. Okay. So, in closing, thank you very much indeed, Lisa. You've been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure and a privilege.
Wonderful. And it's good night from me, and
It's good night from me as well.
so thank you very much indeed. Goodbye,
My
everybody.
pleasure.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Lisa's still there.